Today, you started learning English. After some time, you stopped. Then you started again, and later you stopped once more. This happened many times with many English learners. In the middle of all that starting and stopping, a quiet thought began to grow inside your mind. You may have started thinking, maybe the problem is me. Maybe I can't learn English well. But the real problem was not you. The reason you were not improving was that you did not practice English regularly. Learning a language takes time, and small daily practice helps you get better little by little. That specific feeling when you close your English book or close the YouTube app and tell yourself, tomorrow I will learn. Not lazily, genuinely. You really meant tomorrow. But tomorrow became next week became next month, and now you're wondering why nothing changed. It's not because you aren't trying. You are trying. You just don't know yet what trying is actually supposed to look like. Let me tell you about a boy named Ahmed. He was 19 years old and lived in a small rural town where life moved slowly and opportunities were very limited. Ahmed came from a middle-class family. His father and mother worked long hours in the fields every day just to provide food, shelter, and a simple life for their family. Ahmed watched his parents struggle every day. He saw the tired look on his father's face after hours of labor. Deep inside, he wanted to help them and give them a more comfortable life someday. Unlike many people who dream of becoming rich or famous, Ahmed's dream was simple. He wanted to learn English well enough to get a better job in the city. To others, it might not have seemed like a big dream, but to Ahmed, it represented a doorway to a different future. A future where he could earn more money and support his family. He didn't have expensive courses, private tutors, or the expensive laptops or mobile phone. He has his old phone. Every day, he tried to learn new words, practice speaking, and improve little by little. There were moments when he felt discouraged and wondered if he would ever succeed, but he refused to give up. It was a quiet, honest dream and hope living inside a young man who didn't have anything much. And sometimes, hope is all a person needs to take the first step toward changing their life. One day, Ahmed decided to download a language learning app on his old phone and began watching English lessons on YouTube at night. He bought a small notebook with a bright red cover from a corner shop near the market and carefully wrote every new word he learned inside it. Each page felt like a step toward his dream. For the first 2 weeks, Ahmed was unstoppable. Every evening after dinner, he sat in the same chair outside his house and studied for hours. He practiced speaking in front of the mirror, laughing at his own mistakes and trying again. While walking to the market, he repeated English words under his breath. Sometimes he even imagined himself having conversations with strangers in fluent English. He was genuinely excited, the kind of excitement that makes you think about your goal before you fall down and the moment you wake up. Then, his cousin came to visit and stayed for several days. Soon after, there was a family wedding that filled the house with guests, noise, and endless responsibilities. A few days later, Ahmed came home exhausted from work and told himself he would study tomorrow instead. Life didn't attack Ahmed. There was no dramatic failure, no major crisis, and no one telling him to quit. Life simply arrived the way it always does, quietly, carrying perfectly reasonable excuses, a family event, a busy week, a little tiredness, a little delay. One missed day became 3 days. 3 days became 7 days. And before Ahmed realized it, the notebook with the red cover was sitting untouched on a shelf, which was covered by full of dust. He stopped for 3 weeks. Not forever, just 3 weeks. But when he tried to open that red notebook, something felt different. The excitement was gone. The words he had learned felt distant. He opened the app and looked at it, then closed it again. Not because he didn't want to learn, but because he knew Starting over felt harder than starting the first time. Ahmed was not lazy. He was not careless. He was not less intelligent than anyone else. What happened to him happens to almost every person who tries to learn something without understanding one simple truth. Motivation comes and goes like weather. Some mornings sunny, some mornings raining. But consistency, real consistency, has nothing to do with how the weather feels inside you. People hear the word consistency and immediately picture something impossible. Someone waking at 5 in the morning, studying 2 hours, never missing a single day, never tired, never distracted, perfectly disciplined. That picture is not real. And honestly, that picture is the exact reason so many people feel like failures before they even properly begin. Real consistency doesn't mean being perfect every day. It means showing up, even when it's difficult. It looks like studying for just 10 minutes after a long, exhausting day. It looks like practicing one sentence when you don't feel motivated. It looks like coming back after 3 weeks away and continuing where you left off instead of giving up. Real consistency isn't about never missing a day. It's about always returning. Near my grandmother's old house, there was a small, quiet river. In the middle of it, there was a single large rock. It was heavy, hard, and unmoving. That rock had been there for many years, maybe even hundreds. It looked permanent, like nothing in the world could change it. The river flowed around it every day, calm and steady. The water was soft and gentle, never rushing, never forcing anything. But it kept touching the rock again and again, day after day, year after year. Slowly, without noise or struggle, it began to break it. Not through power or force, but through patience and consistency. The rock didn't break in a moment. It changed little by little, because the water never stopped coming back. Here is what most people miss about small efforts. They feel meaningless at first. 10 minutes of practice feels too short. 5 new words feel like nothing. 1 sentence of speaking feels almost useless. Because in your mind, progress should look big and obvious. But your brain doesn't understand effort the way you do. It understands repetition. Every time you come back, even for a few minutes, even imperfectly, your brain takes notice, and slowly, without you realizing it, it starts building on it. Not because you did a lot at once, but because you kept coming back. Maybe your story isn't Ahmed's story. Maybe you stopped because someone laughed at your English, and that laugh is still living inside you somewhere. Maybe you stopped because you compared yourself to someone faster and felt small. Maybe life got genuinely heavy, with real problems, real pressure, and a heart carrying too much tension to learn a language. Whatever your reason, it was real. I'm not here to tell you that you wasted time. I'm here to tell you the time is not gone. You can still walk back in. But before you go back, before you open any app or pick up any book, there is one thing that needs to change first. Not your schedule, not your word list, something quieter than that. You need to change what you believe consistency actually means. Because right now, somewhere inside you, consistency sounds like perfection. And perfection is what has been keeping you stuck all along. Think about this. When you were a child learning to walk, did you practice every single day without missing once? Did you have a schedule? Did you set an alarm? No. You just tried. You fell. You got up. You tried again the next day. Not because someone told you to be consistent. Because something inside you just kept going. That same something is still inside you. You didn't lose it. You just forgot it was there. So let me explain consistency in simplest way that you can understand easily. Imagine you have a small plant on your window. You water it today, but tomorrow you forget. Day after tomorrow you remember and water it again. Is that plant going to die? No, it's going to grow. Not perfectly, but slowly it will grow. Because you came back. Because you didn't throw it away when you missed a day. Consistency is not about being perfect. Consistency is about always coming back after a long or short day. Ahmed understood this slowly, not in one big moment, more like a quiet realization that came over several days. He stopped punishing himself for the 3 weeks he missed. He stopped looking back at the gap like it was a failure. Instead, he looked at what was in front of him. One notebook, one pen, one evening. That was enough to work with. That was actually everything he needed. One day, he made one small decision. Every night after dinner, before his phone, before television, before anything else, he would open his notebook for just 10 minutes, not 1 hour, not 2 hours, 10 minutes. He even wrote it on a small piece of paper and stuck it on his bedroom wall. 10 minutes, every night, no excuses, simple words. But those simple words changed the entire shape of his evenings. First night, he read 5 new words, said them out loud slowly, wrote each one in a sentence. That was it. Second night, he listened to a short English conversation on his phone, paused it, repeated the sentences quietly to himself. Some words came out wrong. He laughed a little at himself and repeated them again. Third night, he described his own day in English. Simple sentences like, I woke up early, I went to work, I came home tired, I am learning English. 4 small sentences. But those 4 sentences were his. He made those 4 sentences by himself. Nobody helped him to write them. They came from inside him. Now here is something important I want you to understand. Ahmed wasn't feeling excited during these 10 minutes. He wasn't feeling inspired or motivated or full of energy. Most evenings he was tired. Some evenings he didn't even feel like opening the notebook. But he opened it anyway. And this exactly is the difference between someone who improves and someone who stays stuck. Not talent, not time, not perfect conditions. Just opening the notebook anyway. Let me teach you something about your brain right now. Your brain has a special system. Every time you do something repeatedly, your brain starts building a small automatic pathway, like a shortcut. First time you do something new, your brain works hard to understand it. It feels uncomfortable and slow. But second time, a little easier. 10th time, your brain doesn't even need to think much. It just does itself. Scientists call this a habit loop. When you do things repeatedly, your brain captures the pattern itself. You can simply call it the brain getting used to something. This is exactly why the first 7 days of any new habit feel the hardest. Your brain is still building the shortcut. It feels strange. It feels forced. Your brain is asking, are we really doing this? Do we actually need this road? And your job in those first 7 days is just to say, yes, we are doing this. The habit starts to feel less like a decision and more like a part of your evening, like brushing your teeth. You don't motivate yourself to brush your teeth. You just do it. By the end of his 2nd week, Ahmed noticed something. A small thing. He was walking to the shop one afternoon, and a thought came to his mind naturally. Not in his native language, in English, just one thought. The weather is nice today. He stopped walking for a second, looked up at the sky, and said it again quietly to himself. The weather is nice today. 3 seconds. Nobody heard it. Nobody clapped. But something inside Ahmed felt quietly, deeply good. That is your first real sign of progress. Not a test result, not someone's praise. It's that small private moment when English stops feeling like a foreign thing and starts feeling almost familiar, like a street you have walked down enough times that you don't need to check the map anymore. You know this street now. Not perfectly, but enough. And enough is a beautiful place to reach. Maybe you are sitting right now thinking, okay, but 10 minutes really feels too small. It feels like nothing. And I understand that feeling completely. When we want something, really want it, we want to do everything at once. We want to feel the big change immediately. But let me ask you something simple. If you drink 1 glass of water today, do you feel healthier? Probably not much. But if you drink enough water every single day for 3 months, your skin changes, your energy changes, your body changes. The glass didn't feel powerful. The habit was powerful. Ahmed kept going. Week 3, week 4. His 10 minutes sometimes became 15, sometimes 20. Not because he forced himself, because he started enjoying it. This is the quiet secret about consistency. When you do something regularly, it slowly stops feeling like work. It starts feeling like yours, and you even don't know how fast the time has gone. English started feeling like something Ahmed owned, not something Ahmed was chasing. Around this time, something happened at Ahmed's workplace. His manager needed someone to read an email written in English and understand its meaning. Ahmed's colleagues stayed quiet. Nobody wanted to try. Ahmed looked at the email, read it slowly in his mind, then looked up and said, "It is asking about the delivery time. They want to know when the order will arrive." Simple explanation, not perfect English, but clear and accurate English. His colleagues looked at him differently that day. Ahmed did not speak perfect English at that moment, but he spoke well enough to help. Sometimes good enough is exactly what a situation needs. He was able to communicate, support his manager, and get the job done. That small success gave him more confidence in his English skills. That evening, Ahmed went home and opened his red notebook. At the top of a new page, he wrote, "Today I helped my manager with an email." Then he added new words he had learned and sentences he wanted to practice. What just happened at work became motivation for him to keep learning. Not pressure, but fuel to move forward. This is what I really want you to feel right now. Consistency doesn't just teach you English. It slowly, quietly starts changing how you see yourself. Ahmed didn't just learn new words over those weeks. He learned something about himself that no textbook could teach him. He learned that he was someone who kept going. He learned that he was someone who showed up even on tired evenings. And that knowledge, that quiet, personal knowledge, started sitting inside him like something solid. 3 months passed. Ahmed still had the red notebook. The first pages were almost full now. Words, sentences, small conversations he had practiced alone in his room. If you looked at it from outside, it wasn't anything impressive. No fancy design, no perfect handwriting. Just a boy's honest effort, written down page by page, evening by evening, 10 minutes at a time. But inside that simple notebook was something that takes most people years to understand. Proof. Proof that he showed up. One evening, Ahmed was practicing English when his younger sister sat next to him. She watched him for a few minutes and then asked, "Brother, when did you get so good at English?" Ahmed smiled and looked at her. Then he looked at his notebook. He had not realized how much he had improved. The change was real, but it had happened little by little. When you improve slowly every day, it can be hard to notice your own progress. However, his sister could see it clearly. She saw the result of all the time Ahmed had spent learning and practicing English every evening after dinner. This is one of the most beautiful things about being consistent. When you keep showing up every day, the results are often invisible at first. It can feel like nothing is changing. Think about planting a seed. You water it today, then again tomorrow, and then again the next day. When you look at the soil, everything seems exactly the same. There is no sign of growth above the ground. And you may wonder if your effort is making any difference at all. But under the soil, something important is happening which we can't see it. The roots are growing deeper, becoming stronger, and preparing the plant for future growth. You cannot see this process, but it is happening every day. Then one morning, a small green shoot finally appears above the soil. The word shoot usually means a small new plant that grows up from a seed and comes out of the soil. It may look like it happened suddenly, but it didn't. The growth was taking place the whole time. The same is true for learning, improving, and reaching goals. Small daily efforts may seem unimportant, but over time they create results that everyone can see. Now I want to talk to you directly. Not about Ahmed, about you. Because maybe you have been watering your plant too. Maybe you have been showing up, not every single day, but at least you tried. And maybe you're tired of looking at the same ground and seeing nothing. Maybe you're wondering if your effort is even doing anything. I want you to hear this clearly. It is doing something. Every single time you try, something is being built, even when you cannot feel it, even when you cannot see it. But let me also be honest with you, as a good teacher. There is a difference between trying slowly and not trying at all. If you opened this video 3 weeks ago, felt inspired for 2 days, and then completely disappeared, that is not consistency, that is motivation. And motivation without a small daily action behind it will always fade. The feeling of wanting to improve is not the same as the habit of actually improving. One lives in your heart and the other lives in your hands. So here is what I want you to do after this video. Just one thing. Find something small, not a 2-hour study plan. Something you can actually do tomorrow evening without any special energy or perfect mood. Maybe it's 5 new words. Maybe it's 1 short paragraph spoken out loud in front of your mirror. Maybe it's describing your day in 3 simple English sentences before you sleep. Pick one thing. Write it down somewhere you will see it. And do it tomorrow. Not next week, tomorrow. After some time, Ahmed finally moved to the city and got the job he had been hoping for. It was not a perfect job, but it was a good, honest job where his English skills helped him every day. He read emails, answered phone calls, and took part in meetings with his coworkers. Sometimes he did not understand every single word, but he understood enough to do his work well and keep learning. His English was not perfect, but it was enough good. It had been built through months of practice, patience, and consistency. Every time he understood a conversation, replied to an email, or spoke with confidence, he felt proud of himself. A quiet voice inside reminded him, "You built this. Nobody gave this to you." From Ahmed's story, we can learn that every small effort, every evening of practice, and every step forward helps create the person you become. The red notebook went with him to the city. He still has it. Not because he needs it the same way anymore, because it reminds him of something he never wants to forget. That the version of him sitting in that small town room, tired after work, choosing 10 minutes of practice over 10 minutes of rest, that version of him was not weak or small or behind. That version of him was already becoming someone. He just didn't know it yet. Yes, you have days like that too. Days when you feel like you are falling behind. When you compare yourself to others and think their English is far ahead of yours. It can feel like the gap is too big, like you will never really catch up. But that feeling is not the full truth. It is just a moment, not your whole journey. You are not running the same race as anyone else. You are not meant to walk their path or match their speed. You are on your own road with your own starting point, your own struggles, and your own progress. Some days you move fast, some days slowly, and some days you simply continue. But all of it counts. Your road may not look perfect, but it is real, it is unique, and it is yours. Now, let me give you 3 small actions. Not big strategies, just 3 honest, simple things that actually work. First, every morning, say 1 English sentence out loud before you look at your phone. Just 1. Today is a good day. I will try something new today. Anything. Your brain wakes up hearing English from your own voice. That matters more than you think. Second, when you learn a new word, don't just write it. Use it in a sentence about your own life. Not a textbook example, your life. If the word is tired, write, I feel tired after work, but I still practiced. Now that word belongs to your story. Third action, and this is the most important one. When you miss a day, don't punish yourself for it. Don't turn it into a story about failure, or tell yourself that you are not disciplined enough. That kind of thinking only makes it harder to continue. Missing a day is not the end of progress. It is part of being human, and it happens to everyone who is learning something new. What truly matters is what you do next. The real skill is not perfection, it is returning. You simply come back the next day, quietly, without pressure or drama. You open your notebook again. You write 1 sentence. You speak 1 small phrase. That simple return is powerful. It shows that you are still in the process and you are serious about your goals. Many English learners don't know how to come back after stopping. And that ability to return is what slowly builds real progress over time. Months from now, if you keep doing these small things, if you keep coming back, even for just 10 minutes a day, something will slowly begin to change. You cannot fully notice while it is happening. It will not feel dramatic. It will not come with a clear moment where everything suddenly becomes easy. Instead, it will build quietly, through repetition, through small effort that you almost forget to count. But those small moments will start adding up, even when you are not paying attention. Then one day, you will find yourself in a real situation. Maybe you are talking to someone in English. Maybe you are on a phone call. Maybe you are watching a video and suddenly understanding more than before. And a sentence will come to you naturally. You will not translate it in your head. You will not search for it. It will simply appear, ready to be spoken. In that moment, there will be a quiet feeling you may not be able to explain to anyone else, but you will understand it completely. That is what consistency feels like from the inside. That version of you is already being built right now, in small moments, in small choices, every time you try, even a little. And every time you come back after stopping, you are shaping that future self. You are already in the middle of becoming that person. You just need to keep going a little longer, 1 small step ahead. Pick up your notebook tonight, or open a new page on your phone, or just stand in front of your mirror and say 1 sentence out loud. It doesn't matter how it sounds. It doesn't matter if somebody hears your voice. What matters is that you showed up 1 more time. Because consistency is not about big dramatic effort or perfect routines that never break. It is not about doing everything right every single day. It is simply choosing to return again and again. Choosing 1 small action, even when you do not feel like it, even when it feels like nothing is changing. And that 1 more time is everything. Repeated enough, it becomes progress. Repeated enough, it becomes confidence. Repeated enough, it becomes skill. That is how ordinary people slowly build something extraordinary.